Yo! If this is your first time here on this channel, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. To the OGs, welcome back. Here in this series, I add light novel context to key moments of Classroom of the Elite Season 3. Specifically for this video, I'm covering episodes 9, 10 and 11 and what I think of certain scenes. These episodes are based on volume 11 of the source material, the final full volume of the Year 1 series. Let's get right down to the first moment I want to talk about, which is the entrance of the new school chairman Sukisho. There are a couple problems I have with this one, so this is going to be a long one, but I'm going to try to quickly run through the light novel expo and differences surrounding this moment and brief you guys with my feelings on it. First off, the specific moment happens at the end of volume 10. Second of all, in my last Classroom of the Elite video, I mentioned that during the class vote exam period, Asahina was the one that was supposed to interrupt Ayanokoji during his conversation with Ichinose, not Sakayanagi if they wanted to faithfully follow the light novel, but Lurch obviously said to that. Both Ayanokoji and Sakayanagi know that the latter draws too much attention to herself and those around her whether she wants to or not. So Sakayanagi agreed to talk in a more inconspicuous place, that being the special building after school. We of course see them do so in the anime, but only once after the class vote exam results. During the special exam, where she wanted to postpone their agreement for the end of year exam, Sakayanagi also made sure to shoo off Kamuro, who was accompanying her. Again, this was to respect Ayanokoji's desire for privacy. There was that zoom-in shot of the surveillance camera at the second to last scene of episode 6. In the light novel, Sakayanagi took a quick glance at the camera, which Ayanokoji noticed but thought nothing of it at the time. Why am I mentioning this? Well, fast forward to the exam results and Ayanokoji speaking to Ryuin and Ichinose, he meets Sakayanagi at that same place. That's when Sukisho came in and what you see in the anime happens. Kinda. I'll get to that bit. Sukisho claims to have gotten lost trying to find the staff room, but Sakayanagi calls him out on his bullshit, saying he came here because he knew of their previous meeting at the same place thanks to the footage from the surveillance camera. The subtle changes that happened after that made the anime moment seem much more subdued than the light novel version. At least, what was created in my head from reading it. So after the new chairman kicks Sakayanagi's walking stick from under her, Ayanokoji actually saves her from falling, but as he's doing that, Sukisho actually gives him an elbow strike, then pins him by the neck against the wall. Don't get me wrong, Sukisho just letting Sakayanagi drop, yeah, more of an asshole move. And okay, he's also a little quicker on his feet than I thought, but I had that slightly selfish desire to see hands thrown. Now, anime onlys might have the impression that Sukisho is just a little more than a weasel. I don't know though, let me know down in the comments what you think. However, the setup of this moment and the changes just have light novel readers like myself thinking just why? Next, we have Class C deciding who's going to be the commander for the event selection special exam. Yes, a few things got cut, but I'm not actually mad at that. I'm actually happy that they kept probably my favourite moment in that scene. After Horikita said her piece defending Ayanokoji, there's that inner monologue line that has Ayanokoji like, "Bitch, you are not slick." Next, we have the class commanders deciding who they're up against. Yes, Ayanokoji asked Ichizaki to get Kaneda to choose Class B and Ichinose to choose Class D if any of them got the first pick. And if you were thinking all this time that Ryuin had somewhat been involved all this time, then yeah, shock no shock, you were right. Alright, next point. Ayanokoji inviting Kei into his room. In the light novel, Karuizawa was a bit pissed after Ayanokoji told her why he brought her here, because obviously it's her birthday, it shouldn't be any other reason, right? Then she was even more pissed when she was about to leave. That's when Ayanokoji gave her her birthday present, to which he was waiting for her to mention it as a way of teasing her. Then the remark about a box of desserts being better than the necklace he gave her really cut him deep, though he was never going to break out of his poker face for something as trivial as that. That didn't stop him from being even more internally perplexed when she actually put it on. Next, we have Ayanokoji bumping into Manabu Horikita. This is pretty much accurate, and also not too much to complain about, though there was one bit about the scene that was funny to me, and it wasn't the conversation, it's where they had it. Granted, I'm pretty sure they stood still in the light novel, but I never had it in my mind that they were at a level crossing. Like, yo, there's a green light, just walk it. I say this because I can't remember the last time I've ever done this, if I've done it. If it is a common thing, just tell me to shut up in the comments or something. Like I said, I thought it was funny, so I mentioned it. Next, we have Hirata and Ayanokoji. Oh boy, this is probably the most egregious cut and change. I say say this because this is probably one of my favourite interventions Ayanokoji makes in the light novel. But before that, I got to backtrack to say a few things that happened during the class vote special exam in the light novel because I forgot to mention it in the last video. Sorry, but here I go. So, after Yamauchi's scheme was unveiled to the class and Hirata had his outburst, 3 people paid a visit to the latter. Yamauchi, Horikita, and Ayanokoji being the third and last. Ayanokoji told Hirata to cast his negative votes on him, Yamauchi, and if he was still finding it hard to choose a third, Horikita. Hirata says in response to that Yamauchi asked him to cast a censure vote to Ayanokoji and Horikita asked him to do the same but to Yamauchi, further noting that not many people would have suggested that if they were in Ayanokoji's position, to which Ayanokoji just bats that compliment away, saying that it's simply not a smart move to push your agenda in this scenario. Hirata then claims he's found his answer to all of this and walks off. Ayanokoji quickly picks up what he means to do. Ayanokoji gets Karuizawa to spread a text message with the help of her friends to the whole class saying that whatever Hirata says and does, do not vote him to be expelled. The message was written in a more sincere way, I'm just paraphrasing. The only people who didn't get the message were Hirata and Yamauchi. So even though he did in fact ask the class to all give him a censure vote moments before the voting actually started, little did Hirata know that his and Yamauchi's fate was pretty much sealed from the night before. Going back to that moment I love so much in the light novel, only for it to be shat on by the anime rendition. So first off, Ayanokoji actually sits with Hirata on the bench. People don't talk like that, so the 4 standing yards apart as they speak for dramatic effect is just cringe. Now thinking about it, that happens a lot in this show, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't recognize this as an anime trope, so you can say I'm nitpicking on that one. The other thing, when Hirata looks into Ayanokoji's eyes, he kind of shies away, visibly affected by the intense eye contact. The last point, the real kicker, Ayanokoji's internal monologue that's got mushed into the now token Koridei. While the face value reason for Ayanokoji doing this is clear, it feels like the anime is actively trying to make Ayanokoji edgy and take away the part that actually makes him interesting, the part where he actually cares, or at least he really wants to. As Hirata breaks down, in his monologue, Ayanokoji says that he's doing all this for the good of the class. He also points out men's issue with crying and weakness and how he wanted to have a friendship that breaks that boundary. But now, you wouldn't have understood that if you're an anime only. Lurch might as well have got Ayanokoji instead to say,
"Got him. We fucking got him."
Next, we have the exam. There are a few things to talk about, but let's start with the first event, the basketball match. This is a minor one, but it's a very typical anime continuity error. The 2 teams of 5 are competing at half court. That moment where Kito dribbles past Sudo and trash talks in the same play was too long. In real time, he would have ran out of court space after what, 3 seconds? But yeah, that was all I really had to say about that event. And now the chess match. I was afraid at how this scene was going to play out because the actual chess match wasn't focused in the light novel. What I mean by that is that we weren't told the specific moves, pawn to d5 or whatever. Not complaining, I'm not a chess player and I'm pretty sure a number of people who were watching aren't either. So basically I'm saying in terms of what to include with the purpose of engaging the audience, a lot of things could have gone wrong. And the end result could have been a lot worse than what we've got. Even though I'm not a chess player, the few moves that were displayed did have me thinking, are those really high class chess moves or is the show just pulling a fast one over us? And I think that's a natural thought when the characters involved are supposed to be beyond professional level. As he's playing Sakayanagi, Ayanokoji says to himself that she is better than all the expert chess players that paid him a visit in the White Room to test his skills. Last but not least, the scene where Sukisho shows how deplorable he can be for the sake of his goals. In the light novel, after the result of the special exam were finalized for both matchups, Sukisho and his team, also probably belonging to the White Room, take up all the equipment involved. Sukisho declared that the government wanted the data from the exam as soon as possible. It took Ayanokoji one look at the man's face to understand what happened. As you see in the anime, he decided not to bother openly address the issue because again, he's not trying to draw too much attention to himself. And that's it. At the time of recording, the season finale is already out, so expect a video covering the last 2 episodes next week. As said before, there are videos on previous sections of the season for you to check out after this one. If you enjoyed the way I've gone about the series so far, please give this video a like. It helps this video get pushed around in the algorithm for people like yourselves and I'd really appreciate it. Have a blessed one. See ya.